Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today it's going to be quite a short one, but it's something quite important, quite an important topic, as you probably read from the title. It's about consent. It's a really hot topic now and has been for a little while, but a lot of it is about sexual consent, and actually there's another important aspect of this, which is consent in the outdoors industry. You could say there's consenting to activities, i.e. having informed consent and knowing the full scope of the activities and everything that's involved before you consent to go on them, knowing that your guide has the proper qualifications before you consent to be guided and have your safety put in their hands. But particularly today I wanted to talk about the dynamic between the guide, because many people do activities with guides, myself included, because I tend to prefer knowing someone has the local knowledge, the safety with that particular activity, and so I can focus on enjoying the activity itself. But the dynamic of the guide with the clients, and I'm sure that a lot of guides will tell you, and I'd love to hear comments below from people that do guide people in certain outdoor activities, that it takes a little while to decide and determine what kind of clients that you have that you're guiding, whether they're frightened of what they're doing, whether they need more reassurance and more guidance and everything a bit more slowly, whether they're really gung-ho and perhaps you need to just talk to them more about safety, whether they're up for a bit of banter, whether they're jokey, or whether they're quite serious, or whether they're, a trip from work that everything might need to be kept a bit more professional. And it takes a little bit of a while for that to be figured out. At the same time, of course, the clients are working out the guide, how confident he seems, whether they feel safe in his or her hands, and stuff like that. And I think it's really important when talking about consent to not assume the dynamic is going to be a playful one in the same way as friends going out for a jaunt together, and to make sure that that's been clearly communicated or very obviously consented to. Now, what I'm talking about specifically is a little while ago I went out with a guy and a group of people in a water-led environment, and he essentially went to dunk me underwater. I'm a pretty weak swimmer. As my friend Ollie can tell you, we used to go diving together. She used to make sure that I was always in her sight because I'm a relatively weak swimmer. I can only swim for maybe 30-40 minutes before I have to rest, put my feet down with the lowest energy stroke, the breaststroke. And I'm not confident in water either. And in fact, as you might know, I am one of these people that has to hold my nose when I go underwater. And I have jumped into, for example, when I did the Tough Mudder, I jumped a long way into water and my hand slipped off my nose, and anyway, it was fine. I sort of instinctively held my breath and everything was fine. But just to illustrate, my level of comfort in water is not good. So somebody going to dunk me, as this person did, was, in my mind, I didn't consent to that type of a playful dynamic. As it happened, I turned around at the last minute and he didn't get to do it. But then did it later to my friend, who my friend responded by sort of pushing water at him and like splashing him essentially. I think I would have responded by leaving, because I find it really difficult to be brave around water, go in water and do those things. That's something that I need to push past my own fear to do. So somebody that's very confident in water to do that sort of stuff, and then I feel like I can't trust them, because they've assumed that I have a level of confidence in water that I don't have. They haven't asked, they haven't taken enough time to gauge the situation. They've gone to dunk me, luckily haven't been successful, but have done so with my friends. I just don't trust you anymore, because you didn't ask. You assumed a dynamic that wasn't there. You made me feel very uncomfortable, and honestly made me feel a little bit unsafe. I feel that if I went out on a trip and that person was my guide again, I would be really unhappy to continue, because you just don't know what they're going to do. In the same trip I saw this same guide, somebody was climbing up a bit of slippery rock, pushed them back off it, like they got almost up and then they pushed them back off it in a playful way. Not happy with that either. I mean, that person took it in an okay way. I guess well, I could see evidently they were a lot more confident in water than I was. But without asking, how is that okay? So I just want to put it out there that it's not something that I'm gonna pursue in any way. I gave my individual feedback to the company. In the large scheme of things, it's obviously like a tiny issue, but it's for me something that fed more into my anxieties, made me trust the guide less, and a little bit made me trust the company less. So it's just really important for that dynamic to be gauged correctly, and if you're gonna do these kind of behaviours, these playful or banter or stuff like that, you need to judge really accurately, or simply just ask if that's okay, if you can play around, if you can have a joke and a jostle. And if the person says, oh no, actually I'm a bit sketchy here and I'm a bit worried in this environment, then you don't do it that way. You do it the way that makes them feel comfortable, because ultimately they're paying you to keep them safe and to make them feel comfortable and to have a good time out on the activity. So sorry guys, that was a little bit more heavy than I normally go for, but it's something that's been preying on my mind for a little while now, so I just wanted to get my thoughts out on camera. No, I'm not going to identify the person. No, I don't have any of it on camera. I just wanted to use that incident as a general point for what I would like to see in terms of people guiding outdoors. As an additional point, just to be clear, I think there's only ever been one other incident where an outdoor guide has actually done something that's made me feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Almost every single one of the outdoor guides that I've experienced has been amazing. I mean, there's been problems with pace and stuff like that, but in terms of consent and in terms of connection with the client and reading us well, I've been really happy with 95% of the guides that I've gone out with. So if we've gone on a trip together, it's probably not you. But I just think it's really important to highlight that and put that out there. So thank you so much for watching. The next video should be me splashing around in the nuts challenge, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's actually tomorrow, but the video won't be up until next week. So I'll see you guys then. Take care.